All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the AWM Studios Podcast right here on YouTube. Now, as you can see on my YouTube channel, if you're checking it out, which I hope you are, and if you're not subscribed, please subscribe and click the bell icon to stay notified for every single time that I drop a video right here on YouTube. While you're at it, check out my merch store and check out my second channel, All Wrestling Madness, run by my friend Sean, and check out our bi-weekly AWM Studios podcast show, which is what this is. Now, today, I want to just get into something because I've been releasing on my channel ECPW promo reels. No, they're not from me. I don't know who they're from, but I just got another message in my email saying that I should run it. So please bear with me. Here is the message that was sent to me. No music behind it. He just wanted to say something to the ECPW fans and ECPW locker room. So please take over, Mr. Anonymous.
ECPW. ECPW, it is I, Mr. Anonymous, Mr. Total Money, Mr. Money, 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 and the agent to future champions, the Total Annihilator, and the future eventual host of an in-ring segment known as the Annihilation Lounge. I want to make one quick message, one quick thing known that on ECPW, I will be making my debut. I don't know when. I'm not giving out a date, like I said in the last video on this friggin' idiot's YouTube channel. I am not going to announce my debut. I'm just gonna make myself known in person. So if you want to see Mr. Anonymous and find out who I really am, then be sure to go to every single ECPW Long Island show, because you never know when I'll make my debut, because I'm gonna do it when you least expect it, ECPW. So before I give this idiot back his podcast, I want you all to know one thing, that I'm always watching, ECPW. I'm always watching you. And I'll be seeing you all very, very shortly.
Wow. Okay. I don't know who that was. He calls himself Mr. Anonymous now. We're all just going to have to go to ECPW Long Island shows just to see who it is and who it could be. So, I mean, many of you are probably guessing in the comments that it might be me, might be someone named Barry Wolf, might be someone named Robert Wolf, Chris Wolf, Chris Johnson, Chris Masters, whatever. Not Masters, but you get what I'm saying. It could be countless of people that it could be. But I want to let you all know one thing clear. I'm not Mr. Anonymous. I am not in any way, shape, or form Mr. Anonymous. He hails from Los Angeles, California, the city of angels. I'm from Long Island, New York. I do not. I'm only a referee in pro wrestling. I have never done anything more than refereeing and ring announcing. I have never competed in the ring as a wrestler. I am not a manager of any kind. So I don't know who this Mr. Anonymous is. But many of you will still say, oh, James, it's you. You're just playing a gimmick right here on your podcast. You've done this once before in the past. Yes, I have. Trying to get over a manager gimmick in the past. But this is not me. I swear to you, this is not me. I don't know who this Mr. Anonymous is, truthfully. But much beyond that, we're all just going to have to go to every single ECPW Long Island show till we find out who this Mr. Anonymous could be and is, and who he's going to be representing as his first ever client for ECPW Long Island. So for all that and more, go to ecpw1.com. That's ecpw1.com. The links to that, my merch store, and my second channel will be listed all below in the description box. So please check it out at the end of this video and Find out when the next Long Island ECPW show is and get your tickets when it does go on sale so that you do not miss out on a possible sighting of Mr. Anonymous. Again, it's not me. I will clear that up right here, right now. It is not me in the least. I wish it was me because I do want to be a manager, but it's not me. So, with that being said, let's get into today's official episode of the podcast. Wow, what a wonderful podcast. And today's episode, coincidentally, is all about pro wrestling managers, whether it's WWE, WCW, ECW, and anywhere in between, even on the independent circuits. So let's get into today's topic, shall we? With that being said, my first topic is all about the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, WWE Hall of Famer, and WWE legend, the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. Now, Jimmy is one of the greatest managers of all time, not the, but one of the greatest, because he was always known for creating antics around the ring and just putting himself in like 10% of the spotlight, maybe 20% of the spotlight, and the other large percentage would be whoever he's representing, whether it's the Hart Foundation, whether it was Brutus the Barber Beefcake, whoever it was that he was representing at that time. He always made them look like the star. Yeah, he was a little bit in the spotlight, but he made 70, 80% of the spotlight. In fact, right here, I'm just going to take a little bit of a cut right here on my video in editing, and I'm going to be playing a 45-second video clip of Jimmy Hart basically explaining how he even got the nickname the Mouth of the South. So please take a listen, enjoy this video clip break where it's the WWE Hall of Famer and legend, Jimmy the Mouth of the South Hart, explaining how he even got that nickname to begin with, the Mouth of the South. So enjoy this clip.
Kept talking, because Andy and I were really kind of shooting an angle. They were filming over the top of it, but he didn't know it. And he goes, Andy, you can't get a word in edgewise. Jimmy, we might as well call you the Mouth of the South, And so I thought, man, that's not bad. I better use that from now on down here. Woo! And so I started using the Mouth of the South, but he just threw it in there because I was over talking to Andy Kaufman,
I'm in our class with Jimmy Hart being there to critique our training process and give us advice and give us some old stories of his. And Jimmy Hart was one of the nicest guys I have ever met as far as managers. And he just had it within himself to be a genuine guy. But much more than that, the second time I met him was at a church from former ECPW Long Island manager of Custom Vinyl. That's Johnny Ova and Luscious Joe Sloan back in the day. Their manager, Bobby Rydell, is a minister out in Long Island, and he one time, maybe two times, but this was the only time I went there, had Jimmy Hart there just for the fun of it. It wasn't a church thing. It wasn't about religion or anything. It was just come and meet Jimmy Hart and have a day with Jimmy Hart and have fun with him, ask him many questions, and just enjoy the evening with the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. And this was fun because I was in a trivia game with him. I also sang his theme song. This was also like 6-7 years ago. I sang his theme song to him, which is Eat Your Heart Out, Rick Springfield, his WWE theme song. And it was tremendous. He complimented me. I mean, I'm not much of a singer, but still, being the nice guy that he is, he complimented me and said that I did well. It was just a fun night to hang out with Jimmy Hart. Now, the next manager I'm going to speak about is someone that I also met only one time, though, but I found him funny, and I love him tremendously. Right now, he's on WWE, representing the current reigning and defending Universal Champion, undisputed Universal Champion, that is, Roman Reigns. And this is Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman, I only met him once, and he is funny as hell, and I love this guy. He used to be the sole runner and promoter and booker and creative for ECW back in the 90s. Now, he was the one that created the hardcore, well, not created, but basically reinvented what it is to be a hardcore superstar. Bloodshed, barbed wire, flaming tables, the list goes on and on of what he reinvented and basically made famous to the public in ECW back in the early to mid 90s. Now, ECW wasn't all that thing. It wasn't entirely like that. But for the most part, at least a good 75-80% of ECW was hardcore bloodshed back in the mid 90s. And he made it famous. And then he shut it down due to financial reasons. And then he joined the WWF/WWE. And from that point forward, he's been in and out of WWE. And right now, he's with the current reigning and defending undisputed WWE Universal Champion, Roman Reigns. And much more than that, I can't really speak on Paul Heyman. Outside of this one story, I went to New York. And because before this, I was screaming and yelling. I'm not going to get into the reasons why, but I was. And so I lost my voice a little bit. It was hoarse. And as you know, at that time, WWE was running the general managership with John Laurinaitis being the general manager on TV, the commissioner role, the general manager role, whatever you want to title it. And Paul Heyman was on hand for the Sam Roberts show, which was held live at that time for SummerSlam weekend. And he was a guest on the Sam Roberts show live from the Carolines on Broadway in New York City. So I went there. I went to see the show live. And it was time for Q&As. Now I'm going to show you the actual Q&A section where I asked the question. First to answer was Corey Graves, which I'm going to show you the full clip of just my questioning. First to answer my question was Corey Graves, and then after him was Paul Heyman. So pay attention more importantly to what Paul Heyman says about my voice. And you might laugh. Hopefully you do. I laughed afterwards, so hopefully you laugh too. Here is that Sam Roberts clip, brought to you by the Sam Roberts YouTube channel. So yeah, thank you again, Sam Roberts, for providing this clip. And have a great day, and I'll be back with the second half or third half of the podcast right after the clip.
But let's open up to some questions. We have the wonderful Kathy Kelly out amongst the people, and she's going to be moderating this incredible Q&A. Kathy, do you have someone there?
Yes, we have James from Long Island.
James from Long Island.
I have a question for both Paul and Corey Graves. Do you guys watch Tough Enough lately? If you had to pick out of the last four, both male and female, who would you choose to actually win if you guys could choose?
If I had to pick, and I'm usually pretty terrible at picking these things, I would go with the big guy who does the Chewbacca growl all the time. Josh, I think is his name. I saw him for the first time, and he was pretty impressive physically. I don't know much beyond that. And then, what's the blonde girl that's not Sarah Lee? Amanda? I like her as well. I think she's got the look. She's physically fit. I think she'd be all right.
All right, tough enough. And Paul Heyman.
I'm gonna pass on the question because I don't want to influence the voting. Though I will say that if today we held a John Laurinaitis sound-alike contest, sir, you are the winner. I'm John Laurinaitis, Vice President of Talent Operations. And I'm here to suck up the entire show.
John Laurinaitis, of course, one of the esteemed executives for the company Paul Heyman works for.
Moxley, otherwise known as Dean Ambrose, because before both of them were even WWE bound, they were both having a tryout match against each other, and it was one hell of a match. You can look it up on YouTube, Dr. Porter versus John Moxley, TNA. It was one of the early days of TNA, I'm going to say real early, before NXT was even a thing, while they were still running FCW in Florida, WWE. This guy is one of the best wrestlers that you can watch. He's one of the most entertaining wrestlers in my opinion. And now he runs his own chiropractic business out in Coram, New York. Synergy Wellness. Just go on Google, type in Synergy Wellness, Coram, New York. And if you are having back problems or anything like that, just go right to him, let him know what you're there for, and let him know that James Balish, otherwise known as Barry Wolf, sent you. And he'll know exactly who you're talking about. And if he doesn't, show him this YouTube channel. Show him, then he'll know exactly who you're talking about. Because me and him are good friends, and I respect him tremendously. I used to work with him at ECPW for like 2 years straight, 2.5 years straight, and he was one of the best wrestlers I ever got to work with. One of the most politest wrestlers, kindest wrestlers, respectful wrestlers that I've ever gotten to work with. And that goes along with Robbie Rebel, who is one of the nicest guys you could work with. Mark Static of the Syndicate of Pain, one of the nicest guys you could work with. Savage Shade, otherwise known as SJR, one of the greatest guys I gotten to work with. Cash Camacho. The list goes on of guys that I've gotten to work with in ECPW that I have tremendous respect for. But yeah, it just goes without saying. I've had a long career refereeing for professional wrestling, and I've had fun each and every time. One of my favorite matches that I've ever gotten to do, one of them at least, would have to have been, God, which one? It would have to have been my first ever night refereeing at all, and that was September 22nd, 2012. That was the same night that we had Melina and Jillian Hall from WWE come in and work a match against each other. So yeah, that was a great night. And it was also my debut night as a referee. That night I refereed the first match out the door, which was SJR versus Bobby Dream. Looked that match up as well. I was completely 100% green, but at that time I was complimented saying that I did better on the shows themselves than I would do during training practice matches. That I would mess up here and there during the practice matches, but when it comes to live shows, I always put so much pressure on myself that I made the matches look as best as I could. And it was just fun to work that match. SJR versus Bobby Dream. Look it up. ECPW. And it was one of the greatest matches that I could have ever have worked. I enjoyed every moment of that match, to be exact. What is my last thing I want to say on this episode? Because I only make my episodes about 20 to 35 minutes. Between 20 and 35 minutes, I make my podcasts. So they're short, but they're also straight to the points. My second favorite match that I would have to have done was a Falls Count Anywheres match in St. James one time that I did. There's no video footage of it that at least I could find. If you could find it, go right ahead. I think it was Robbie Rebel versus Spaz. No. It was Robbie Rebel versus Mark Static, I think. Again, I don't remember the exact people that were involved, but it was a Falls Count Anywhere match. And that's one of my favorite matches for ECPW. But that's just going without saying. I loved working in ECPW because the environment there was lackadaisical. I'm not going to say that they didn't care if you screwed up, because they did. They wanted every show to be fantastic. But at the same time, as long as you didn't make it noticeable to the audience, as long as the audience were unaware of your screw up, and as long as the wrestlers themselves were kept safe and didn't get seriously hurt, it didn't matter if you did one or two small screw ups. They would understand completely, and they would move on from it, and you'd learn from it. But my last favorite match that I've ever done in pro wrestling, not just ECPW, but in pro wrestling, was one match in particular, which you can catch on my YouTube channel, as well as on Victory Pro Wrestling's YouTube channel, if you look for it. It's Jack Tomlinson. No, not Jack Tomlinson. No, it was Brayton. What was his name? Give me a second, because I will be right back with his name. It was Bryce Donovan versus his former tag team partner at that time, Johnny Collins, in an I Quit match. If you haven't done so already, check it out on my YouTube channel. I commentated on my version of the clip. But if you don't want to hear my commentary, then just go straight to Victory Pro Wrestling's YouTube channel and look it up again. Bryce Donovan versus Johnny Collins, VPW. That entire feud, I was in most of them. I'm not going to say I was in every single scenario that they were both involved in. But if you watch the promo reel that was created for that match, you would see that at least more than half of them, I was in the background of most of the shots. So when it came to that night and I was refereeing and I was asked, James, what match do you want to do? I was like, is it all right if I did Johnny Collins, Bryce Donovan, I Quit? Because one, I've never done an I Quit match at that point, and I've always wanted to. That was on my bucket list. So I asked if I could, and the guy's like, I don't care. Go right ahead. So I did that match, and it came out tremendously. In person, it came out tremendously. I will say this, though. The camera footage is not from me. It was from the camera guy I'm stuck with the other company. It was the camera guy that Victory Pro Wrestling provided. And VPW used to have decent camera people getting some of the best shots. You see some of their matches, top-notch camera work. But this one particular match just didn't really go well in the editing process, I think, or didn't go well with the camera people that were at ringside for this one match. But the match itself, in person, tremendous. I would give this match a 4 out of 5 star match. It was that top tier, in my opinion. And I'm not biased. I just enjoyed the funness of the match. So yeah, go back on either my channel if you want to hear the commentary of Bryce Donovan versus Johnny Collins VPW I Quit match, or just go to the VPW YouTube channel and check it out there. Again, Bryce Donovan versus Johnny Collins. All the matches that I just mentioned that I can find clips for will be linked in the description box below as well. So check it out there. If you don't want to type it in, just click the link down below and go straight to the video source. I'll list my commentary as well as the actual video with no commentary. And you can see the match in 2 different ways. But just know this, it is the same video, just my version I took from their YouTube channel, and I just commentated over it. Now, I'm not the best commentator. I don't talk wrestling moves all that well because I don't know the names of every single move on the face of the planet. So I'm not a professional commentator when it comes to wrestling. But I gave my take on the match itself still. So, yeah. I enjoyed that match tremendously from start to finish. And it was one of the best matches I have ever done. I've also done tag team steel cage matches. Again, that would be the Even Stevens versus the Shook Crew. Also, Victory Pro Wrestling. So go on their channel, look it up. I think I have a clip on my channel where I commentated over it. I think I do. Check my channel first and see if I do. It's Bryce Donovan and God, what was his name? Mike Orlando, I think his name was. No. I forgot what his name was. I apologize. You are one of the best wrestlers I've worked with. One of them, but I can't seem to remember your name. I apologize. But they went by the Shook Crew versus the Even Stevens in a Victory Pro Wrestling tag team steel cage match. Another top tier match, another 4.5 stars out of 5. And I enjoyed the hell out of this match. And I was the referee of that match as well. So again, any matches that I do list on this list of favorite matches, I'll link the links down below, and you can catch them through either my YouTube channel or through the Victory Pro Wrestling's YouTube channel, or ECPW's YouTube channel for those matches that I've mentioned. If I can find any of those clips, you'll see them down below. All you got to do is click the link. So while you're at it, also check out our merch store, bonfire.com/store/AWM Studios today, and check out all the amazing and high quality merchandise that we are selling on our merch store. You do not want to miss out on some of these top tier items because they are going fast, and once they're gone, they are gone. You do not want to miss out on opportunities like this on our main merch store. Also, for the next 3 weeks, I am still holding up the Valentine's Day special sale. If you use promo code AWMVAL24, that's AWMVAL24, one more time, AWMVAL24, you will get 25% off your entire order of the Great Valentine's Day special t-shirt lines. So check out that line in particular. And if you want to get your special loved one something very, very loving and special this Valentine's Day, look no further than the AWM Studios merch store. All the links will be listed down below, and you do not want to miss out on this great sale that we have. All you got to do is use AWM VAL24 at checkout, and you'll get 25% off your entire order of the great Valentine's Day special t-shirt line. Thank you again for listening to this week's episode of the AWM Studios Podcast. I'm your main host, Barry Wolf, James Balish. See you all and talk to you all in the very next episode of the AWM Studios Podcast. Please be sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. Click that bell icon so that you get notified for every single time that I drop a video right here on YouTube. And while you're at it, follow me on TikTok at AWM Studios Pro, and check out my second channel run by my friend and co-host of the occasional AWM Studios podcast episodes, Sean, which is called All Wrestling Madness. All the links to videos, our merch store, our promo sale code, and everything in between will be listed down below in the description box. So at the end of this video, just click that subscription box and search up all the links down below. Thank you again, and talk to you all very, very soon.